What is up, guys? Archon Tsunami here, as always with my co-host.
Sir Fat Nuts.
And we're gonna do a league patch breakdown. Since you guys enjoyed the World of Warcraft ones that I do, I figured this would be something we could do. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. We're gonna start with the mid-patch updates because they're at the top, and then we'll kind of work our way down to those changes. So
What got patched immediately after the patch?
In case it wasn't obvious and you didn't see any preseason videos from the PBE, Dark Harvest was definitely busted. And in case you don't know, new Dark Harvest, what it does is it's at 50% HP. If you deal damage to an opponent, you get a stack of Dark Harvest now. So what happens is eventually it gets to the point where you just deal so much bonus damage that it one-shots whatever you're attacking. So Karthus, Zed, Katarina, Akali, those champions are probably really good to run Dark Harvest with now. What they did is they lowered the base damage by 10, and then I think it's still the same at max level. They just lowered the early game, and then damage per soul was dropped from 8 to 5. It doesn't scale as fast. Anyway,
Yeah.
After that's done.
And it procs on abilities now.
Yeah. Aatrox. Let's talk about Aatrox. They made it so his R duration matches up with his Bloodwell, so it's not longer than it's not 10 seconds instead of 12. Whereas before, your Bloodwell would charge up to max, and you have 2 extra seconds to attack. Heal on revive. They changed how the max percent works. So instead of 0.5 max percent per one Bloodwell, up to 80% Bloodwell, 50% max for 80% Bloodwell or higher. Yeah, they changed it out to where it's not a flat value anymore, I think is the change here. Not actually sure on that one. That one's kind of weird. What do you make of that one?
I don't know. I'd have to play him to figure that out.
It looks like it's more math. It looks like it's more Bloodwell related math instead of it just being 1% of Bloodwell times 0.05.
I feel like more people use Aatrox's R for movement speed more than what it's supposed to be used for anyway. So whatever they do.
Yeah.
And the revive.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably what a lot of people use it for. Valid argument. Let's talk about Ezreal here. Ezreal, his W's base damage is up at all ranks, so it eventually caps out at 25 bonus damage to 300, and the AP ratio looks like it scales throughout the game now, so AP Ezreal is kind of going to be back. His R got changed to where the True Shot Barrage, it no longer has damage fall off. It used to be if you shot into a minion wave, you'd lose, I think 30% or 40% or whatever the heck it is for how many minions it hit in the wave, and then if it hit a champion, you take that damage. It looks like now they just made it to where you can't clear waves with it. They lowered it to 50% against minions and monsters instead of hurting the overall ult for hitting all the waves. You can't just clear for base anymore.
Clear all the waves in the mid.
Yeah, you used to be able to just reset the wave with the Ezreal ult, but it looks like they're nerfing that to where they don't allow for that anymore. But you don't lose any damage if you fire into a champion or a bunch of champions though, like you used to, which I think is good. Lissandra's next. She got a rework this patch. She got 5% bonus attack speed at level 1, and they fixed her animation on it as well to make it, sync up better. She used to be one of the worst ones out there for auto attacks early on, just like Karthus is now. Karthus will probably be the next one that they need to fix.
Slowest auto ever.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the new passive. What it does is when an enemy dies near Lissandra, she creates a frozen thrall, and you can kind of think of them like a Mordekaiser ult, but you can't control them. They just kind of go to the nearest champion, and then they explode for a bunch of damage. As you can see, 120 starting out, and then 520 by level 18. So it's quite a bit of damage. If she can, E, N, W, Q, R, something down, and there's still people around her that are trapped in the W from it, you can probably make a pretty big play here and just create a chain reaction. It's almost like GP barrels, how they're just going to explode, deal a bunch of damage. Yeah, and it has an 0.3 ratio on top of the 520, so you do get some bonus damage. So her old passive's gone. I think her old passive was really weird anyway. I think she just got a free spell cast like every 20 seconds or something.
Oh, yeah, that does sound
She
great.
was one of the original champs, I think.
Slow poke.
Yeah, her Ice Shard Q now has its mana cost reduced at all ranks. That's really good for her. She used to be really mana dependent, so her early game was terrible, but it looks like they're trying to help her out a bit. They lowered Ring of Frost mana by 10, and they also hit the damage on it by quite a bit. So at max rank, it's now 40, so you get her level 4 at level 5, and the ratio has been lowered to 0.3 as well. They buffed her Getaway or her Engage tool with Glacial Path. They increased the rate at which the claw moves forward, and then it kind of decelerates at the end, so you can't get away. Like, you use it to either go in really quick, or you use it to hit a champion and then like get on top of them. So it's still the same distance, 1.25 seconds, but it decelerates kind of fast at the end. It's a little slower to get away. Frozen Tomb, the ability power has been hit as well, down by 1.1%, so 0.6. Talia's getting, I think, nerfed here.
Wait, so for her Glacial Path, that's instead of it comes out really fast and ends up really slow, right?
Yeah, so it's basically, it shoots out fast, so it covers a lot of distance really quick, and then it kind of evens out and slows down at the end.
But you could probably use it to dodge attacks.
Potentially. You just won't be able to use it as a quick getaway tool, I don't think. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on how fast it decelerates and where it decelerates at. If it's in the middle, it decelerates, then yeah, it's fine. But if it decelerates quickly after just a burst of speed, then it'd be really bad.
Probably would need flash.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to Talia. I think they're nerfing her here.
Cooldown.
Yeah, the early game cooldown's down. The mana cost is down. It looks like everything takes 50% reduced damage, so this will slow her clears down in the jungle as well as her minion clear. Because before it used to be you land your Q and then every shot after the first one would deal 50% reduced damage. Now it's 50% reduced damage to everything instead of just champions. Looks like worked ground duration's now set at 45 seconds and no longer scales with cooldown, which I think you could get it below 45 if you had CDR max. Not sure on that one, but it looks like they're trying to hit jungle Talia maybe, which is interesting. I know a lot of people were complaining about her when she first became a jungler. On to York. York is just a bug fix. Let's focus on the main, now draw a minion and Terra Dagger onto you. Okay, cool. This needed to happen. I always thought this was kind of weird because back when like I would play against York, he'd summon the maiden and she'd start aggroing to me and the turret just wouldn't attack. It would keep clearing minions as if nothing was going on.
It's like Annie. It should just attack the R, right?
No, if Annie's within turret range and Tibbers is attacking you, it targets Annie. But if Annie in range, prioritizes Tibbers. Yeah, it always prioritizes the caster if they're underneath with their R.
Not your.
Well, now he's fixed. So, the Doran shield. This one's kind of interesting because back when the resolve tree was still really powerful, I don't think it's as powerful as it used to be. People used to go bone plating, second wind, and Doran shield, and the reason they would do that is because you would be able to sustain so hard in lane that nobody could trade with you. And this right here is basically making it so if somebody all-ins you and bursts you down, you don't just get to heal all that HP off. Instead, you basically survive against poke champs like Ezreal a bit more because every time you get hit, it starts regenerating HP based on your missing HP. So if you get poked a lot, you just fall off for a second and you regen a bunch of HP back. Yeah, so it should help with cap at 25% missing health. I don't know. Scaling regen,
Looks like they nerfed it to the floor. It says 25%.
It's capped at 25% of your missing HP.
All right.
So it looks like it can't regen past 25% of whatever your HP is. So if you take a bunch of damage or something, I'm not sure what that means. It looks like I said, it looks like it's based on your missing health. So it helps against poke champions, but against all-in burst champions, it's not going to do anything for you like it used to. Because it used to be from any damage at all, you'd regenerate just a flat 10% or no, it used to be a flat 30% or 30 HP, sorry, over 10 seconds just from taking damage. So now it regenerates up to, and it's based off 25%. At 25%, you then regenerate 30, whereas now you just regenerate lower portions for getting bursted. Anyway, sorry about that. Moving on. Ginsu's Rage Blade. See, they've changed Ginsu's now to where I think this is an item that is more magic and armor penetration, which is interesting to me. So champions like Varus will still build it. Who else will still build this item? Kale is another one that will still build the item because all they're worried about is attack speed. I don't think Udyr will build this anymore, but I could be wrong on that one. I mean, technically you're just going for the Tiger applications more than you are the actual raw damage. So Udyr could be another one that if you just build the attack speed on. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this Rage Blade is gonna be interesting.
But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting item. Jungle item.
We'll find out a way to make it OP again.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Well, I'm sure there's gonna be some type of OP build with it. Somebody's gonna find a use for it out there. I just don't think it's gonna be, like I said, on an AD as much. Varus, I think, is the only AD that's gonna build it anymore. Other preseason changes include farm bounty. Okay, so what they did here is back in season 8, about halfway through, there was a funneling strat where people would lock in Taric mid and then let Yi run around and clear the jungle camps as well as clear the mid waves because Taric didn't need gold because basically your utility is all Taric needs to get by. His stun, his R, and his heal. So he'd get the XP still from the waves and he'd take some of the waves when Yi was clearing camps. But what would happen is that the Yi would get so far ahead in level and gold that he could just 1v9 the game at like level 15 minutes. So what they did is they made it to where you can't, if you're the top gold earner on your team, can't go into lane and CS minions. You won't get anything for it. You'll get like 4 gold instead of like, 14, or you'll get 1 gold. So with this, they're fixing it because they changed how bounties work. They're added farm bounties. So for teams that do that, there's at least counterplay. You just kill the jungler for farming and then, you get a big shutdown bonus.
Yeah, we gotta go back to that, those bounties later. It's pretty game changing.
Okay, so because they're buffing minion health, they're changing how minions work in general. Looks like they're changing the minion execute range a little bit, which will help with people that struggle with targets. So it's good. Wards and trinkets. They're limiting control wards to only being able to carry 2 at a time. You used to be able to carry 3. And the trinket now no longer scales based off your own level. It now scales off the average level of everybody in the game. I think Riot's trying to kill vision is what it seems like because the warding totem is also losing duration as well by 60 seconds. So it will always be at 120 or 90 to 120 instead of scaling double to 180. So it looks like it wants to reward people properly ward objectives objectives. Like if you have an inkling that somebody's going to go try to do like dragon or something, you go and ward that. And if they don't do dragon within that 2 minutes, it's kind of a wasted ward. But at the same time, I think it's something like that. It's proper warding is what it's rewarding.
Well, it forces people to do pink wards at the objectives.
Well, then it's forcing people to ward properly instead of, just trying to lay down casual wards throughout the enemy jungle or want to ward places that, you actually need vision on. You're not going to get free vision for an extra minute. So if you're warding a buff or something, you're going to want that ward there a lot sooner. Like,
or someone's on the other side of the wall poking the crap out of somebody.
Well, that doesn't change at all.
We all use our wards. Dang it.
Okay, guys, on to the big change of Season 9, and that is turret plating. And what this is on the first turret that you guys go up against, it will have these small little bars on it, and each of these bars will represent 1,000 HP. And every time you break one, you get gold 160, and it's split for everybody near the turret that was attacking it. So you get bonus gold for breaking the small little life bars. Said each one represents 1,000. The turrets also have bonus armor and MR starting out at 30 MR and armor. And then once you break a plate, it gains another 30. And it also gains a bonus effect where these turrets have a bunch of bonus armor for each enemy champion nearby. So if you're pushing a turret really hard and you keep breaking off pieces of it, that bulwark keeps stacking. So that means that the multiplier goes up and up and up. So eventually you get to a point where I don't think you can push the turret as hard. So it's better off just to back off. And the reason they are making these changes is because they didn't like in Season 8 how, like, let's say bot lane, for instance, mid lane would push in a wave, the jungle would come down, and then you'd get 4-manned underneath your turret, and your turret was just gone at that point. The enemy team would just push the turret down, and then just, bot lane would rotate to another lane, push that advantage, and just that's how the game would go. With these changes, it lets the AD carry, for the most part, try to get back into the game, into the mid game, because at 14 minutes, turret plating just falls off, and then it becomes a normal turret. So it doesn't have a bunch of armor and MR, but that's just to get the AD carry and these other lanes that were getting bullied immediately through the game to the mid game. So I think it's a pretty good change, and it also punishes diving junglers, because I think the turret deals a bit more damage. I want to say I don't see anything on here that shows turret damage. Oh, I'm in here. It's in the next set, I think. So talk about it then.
Turret adjustments.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, I think this is a good change. I think this is what we needed in order to keep the games even until mid game, so that way everybody has a chance to scale into the game, and it rewards the team for turret aggression as well, instead of just diving the enemy champion and trying to kill him under turret. I think it's an all around win for everybody.
Wait a second. All right, yeah. Let's go to turrets adjustment because with it, it's pretty much with this.
Sorry, guys, my phone. Let's go ahead and hop into turret adjustments now. This will be talking about things that I was talking about a minute ago with damage. Ouch.
What's first?
Now the other turrets. So the first turret bonus and outer turrets changes were made to accommodate turret plating. Okay, beyond those, turret damage is going up to head risk. So this is what I was talking about with the anti-dive. While global gold is going down to shrink the team-wide snowball granted by one lane pulling head. So basically, you don't gain a bunch of global gold anymore. Like I said, with the turret plating, you now just gain it for the lane that's pushing, essentially. So that lane still gets ahead, and then the other lanes are unaffected. And like I said, now they're punishing dive. And then the first turret bonus got reduced to 150 instead of like 300 split. The outer turret's HP is 5,000, so that means that it has 5 bars on it for 1,000 each. The AD scaling is 9 per minute, so it just keeps going up and up and up. AD cap is 278 at 15 instead of 180 at 30, which is a lot more. Armor magic is list. Yeah, this doesn't exist because of the changes to it. Global gold's still 50. The inner turret is now 9 per minute, so it looks like they're still buffing the inner turrets as well. The inner turrets don't have any armor as far as I can tell, and they don't have any MR, and they're pretty easy to push down compared to the super turret, I guess you could say, with the plating. Same for the other turrets.
Yeah, they reduce all the global gold turret.
Yeah, and then the Nexus turrets are weaker at 18 than what all the other ones are. So yeah, basically they're just making one, like the front half for the turret with the plating on it, really strong to where you can't dive early game, and then it lets everybody scale, like I said. Tier 2 is a little bit stronger, I guess, but its armor and MR seems to be pretty weak from what I can tell. You just pretty much blow it down with a minion wave almost instantly. So it's making it to where the game, like I said, lasts longer early game, but doesn't go as long late game. It's helping split pushers. This is actually really good for split pushing. So we may see a split push meta come back with Shen and that. Be interesting. Minions and monsters.
Yeah,
Like now it's time for Baron. So basically with these changes are to make minions a little bit more reliable on pushing a turret down, so you don't need to use Baron to finish a game. Because right now, mages can just push a wave out, so you can't just shove them in unless you have Baron buff, which is why it says Baron's mandatory. With these changes, it should make the minions a bit tankier and able to deal a little bit more damage to turrets to help push them down. So I like this change too. It makes it to where, like I said, you don't need to worry about Baron as much. You don't just auto lose for not getting Baron either. You can still push in other lanes potentially if the enemy team is trying to shove one lane in. So yeah, I like these changes.
Fermented Drake. Yeah. And the Drake's
turrets
going.
also deal less damage.
Right now they got the Drakes. They spawn at 5 minutes now.
I like these changes as well. Elemental drakes used to spawn at 6 minutes, now they spawn at 5, which to me is interesting because later. No, this is just the respawn. Will spawn at 5 minutes instead of 2:30.
Yeah.
So what that means is there's no longer to cheese at level 4. Like Shyvana won't be able to just go up and kill dragon at level 3, and you will not be able to contest it because you're off doing your other camps real fast. They fixed it. I like it. It's a good change. The 5-minute spawn is really nice because that way it gives you more dragons potentially in a game, and
Oh,
there's more to play for.
Speaking of Shyvana, that gives them more dragons in a game.
Potentially, yes. But this also gives you more objectives to play for, whereas, you kill dragon, you go, towards Herald or take Herald. You're basically just pushing a lane for 5 minutes, waiting for the next dragon, which is fine. Instead of 6 minutes of doing nothing.
Now there's so many dragons that people forget about them.
The nice thing about Elder Dragon, Baron Nashor here is they both come back at 6 minutes. And the reason why this is nice is because now you have to choose. Do you want to do Elder Dragon, potentially give the enemy team Baron, or vice versa? So now it's not as snowbally as it was before, where, you take Elder Drag or Baron Nashor at 7 minutes. Then 1 minute before Elder comes back up, you then proceed to, block the enemy team off and take Elder because you've had time to rotate. Now you have to choose. I think this is a good change.
Which is better, Baron or, and can you get their if they get Elder Dragon and you guys weren't on any objective, then is it possible to even get Baron at that point?
If you guys weren't already on Baron, they might be able to rotate. They have vision on it. I'd imagine they have time to rotate. It just depends on the team comp.
I feel like in the jungle, wouldn't Elder Dragon buff be better?
What do you mean? Elder Dragon's only bonus damage versus minions champions.
Yeah, so in the jungle, wouldn't that be better than not Baron buff?
You can't win a game in the jungle.
Wait, what?
Baron's good. Baron's good because you shove waves with it.
Yeah, but you can get Elder Dragon, then you automatically can get Baron because they can't contest it because your team is now intensely strong.
At that point, though, you were already going to win. Elder Dragon doesn't have anything to do with the jungle, though.
It's extra damage versus champions. Is Baron extra damage versus champions?
I believe so, yes. There's something on there, too. It's empowered autos and it's empowered or backs. But yeah, you're more powerful in general, though. So, I mean, you can easily go
what would be better to get first, an Elder Dragon or a Baron?
That's what the thing's going to be. That's the decision you're going to need. Do you want to push lanes in, or do you want the extra bonus on Elder Dragon? Because Elder Dragon scales your other dragons as well.
Yeah.
That's why Elder Dragon's good. So if you got a bunch of dragons early on, it might be better. Elder. It just depends.
I think, and they even buffed your first Infernal Drake too with that.
Yeah.
So if you have one Infernal Drake, you get Elder Dragon.
Well, they also buff dragons in general to where they're a little bit more powerful. Like it's from, I think it was originally 6% bonus damage. Now it's 10%. It was 10% move speed. Now it's 16%. Ocean Drake is now 6% instead of 4. Cloud Drake is now 3 instead of 2. So yeah, a lot of big changes. They also changed the XP for killing a dragon. So now it's actually worth it for the jungler to, try to prioritize dragon a bit more because you get an extra 75 bonus XP and as well as 75 kill gold for it. Yeah. So dragon's actually worth going for now. It's actually about as much as what the, Gromp is or something in terms of gold value or golems.
So it's like golems, but your whole team gets OP.
But because dragons got a buff, they hit all the jungle camps. So now you lose XP a little bit because I don't think what happened is they changed crab, and I think it was the change to crab that caused the XP values to get out of control for junglers to where they were out leveling where Riot intended them to be. So with this change, it'll kind of ease them back in so that way they're not just dominating the game and instantly being 2 levels ahead or 3 levels ahead of bot lane or something going into gank. I'll have to see how this plays out.
So that's the funnest part about sitting by as a jungler, right?
It'll be interesting to see how these affect jungle. Sorry, I was a bit tired here. Midnight.
The last part is runes.
Yeah, they changed the rune stat bonuses because before it used to be bonus you would get, it was dependent on what tree you took. Now they just made it its own thing that you can just separately pick between 3 different ones. One's adaptive damage, CDR, attack speed. Second tier is MR, armor, adaptive damage. The third one I think is HP scaling, and then armor and MR. So you can either make stuff super tanky or go damage, go cooldown reduction. I don't know if I like it as much. I think it's a weird change, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't think it's a good change.
Yeah, I don't know. The fleet footwork, I haven't tried that yet, but the Dark Harvest definitely seems a little weird.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about the different rows they added for your bonus stats. Because like I said, it used to be pinned to what tree you took. Now it's just random. Or not random, but it's whatever you choose. So you could go precision, domination, and now get HP instead of resolve tree. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds weird.
I'm sure there's some broken runes, maybe. Like 10 armor at the start of a game is kind of a lot. And then you also throw in something there's conditioning, I think it is, where you get bonus armor percentage or something. I'm sure it'll help out a lot. And then also having bonus health in the early game on an 80 or something is going to be broken. I mean, it was already proven broken to where, bone plating was dumb with it.
And then on your runes, you get extra cooldown reduction. reduction on top of your cooldown reduction.
Yeah, you could also run Transcendence or whatever with it, and then just have an automatic 20% out the gate at 10 minutes
Sounds
or
good.
15 at 20 minutes, something like that. Fleet footwork. This was interesting. People were actually running fleet footwork on mages, and I can't remember what mage it was. I want to say Rise was one of them, and I want to say Lissandra was one of them, but I might be wrong on that. Or maybe it was Diana. Diana might have been running fleet footwork. So it looks like they're going to hit this because mages don't get punished as much. Because before, when you'd run precision tree, you'd get attack speed, and mages obviously don't use attack speed typically, outside of a few. But yeah, this is to fix that.
Would even use attack
Celerity.
speed. Lux would probably use attack speed.
She doesn't use attack speed. She just her one auto just deals a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, well, the faster you get that out, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Celerity. The change here is kind of interesting because I think originally it was 8 when it came out, and then it had bonus damage, and everybody was forced to run it because it was like the top rune. But it looks like they're getting rid of the bonus damage, so this kind of hurts Hecarim as well, or any champion that was really using Celerity for its bonus move speed damage. Udyr, I think, was another one you could potentially run down. But yeah, mostly Hecarim. But now you get a flat 8%, which actually might still make it decent on Hecarim, I guess.
Yeah, it depends on your items. Guess if you pop skill moves or something,
yeah,
might be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I think were running Dark Harvest before on Hecarim. It was not new Dark Harvest; it was the old Dark Harvest. So I don't know if that's changed at all either with the new changes here. But anyway, we talked about Dark Harvest before up top about the changes to it. The new Dark Harvest is a little different. If you remembered before, you used to get Dark Harvest stacks from killing epic monsters or jungle camps and tank minions and champions. Well, now it works a lot different. You basically get your Dark Harvest stacks by attacking enemy champions when they're below 50% health. It deals a burst of damage, and now it's any attack that does it. Abilities as well. It used to be just basic attacks. Now it's anything. Once they're at 50%, it just pops them for a bunch of damage. This damage here, 50 to 80, is not correct. We already talked about that. It's now 40 to 80 with the changes, and it's +5 per soul harvest, not +8. ARAM, I don't know if they changed anything there. The cooldown reduction is basically every 45 seconds if you don't kill the target, but if you kill the target, it resets on 1.5. So you can pretty much bounce around and deal a lot of damage if you can get like a quick reset. So champions like Karthus like this rune, Kali would like this rune, Zed would definitely like this rune with not Dark Harvest, but his all, I can't think what his alt's called off the top of my head. Deathmark. Katarina likes it because she resets all of her abilities anyway when she kills something, so she can easily just target something else and deal a bunch of burst damage to it. Yeah, I think Vigor would like this rune as well. Hit him with the wall, hit him with the W, hit him with the Q, hit him with R, and then they just explode. And if at 50% HP they didn't die, the R will probably finish them with the Dark Harvest proc. So good to keep in mind. Good to play around. This one's going to be one that you want to play around with for a while. I'm sure there's a lot of champions out there. Even Jhin, I think, could use it to some degree better than what it used to be used with his last shot and his ult. Even I mean, there's a lot of testing to be done. MF, I think, could use it too. But anyway, Ravenous Hunter. Hunter is being nerfed. The base healing is dropping from 2.5 to 1.5 per stack. Bonus stack still 2.5. So the base value is dropped here. So they're just nerfing that. Whatever. Demolish, I think, is also getting a nerf here. Yeah, Demolish also got nerfed because the turret plating is a thing. They want to make it so turrets stay up longer.
It's gone to my new favorite one though. You got the shield bash.
We can talk about that in a second. But yeah, this is just preventing turrets from being shoved a lot faster with Demolish. So it's a nerf.
It's kind of pointless at this point unless you're just kind of use it to get the extra gold every time. Probably like free plate.
That's what the nerf is. It's to prevent it from being that in the early game.
Yeah, but shield bash. This is way better.
We can talk about shield bash. Gain bonus resistances while shielded your next base terror. If you're gaining one, deals bonus damage. So they're adding this to the first row because bone plating is getting to the second row, and they didn't have anything to replace it with. So I think they got rid of Chrysalis from Resolve. That's why they're doing it this way. So Chrysalis is completely gone from the second tier, which is why bone plating is taking its place.
I'm really curious how this affects kills though.
Well, shielded gained
8.5% of the shield strength and 1.5% bonus health damage.
Whenever you gain a shield, your next basic attack against an enemy champion within 2 sides of the shield expiring deals bonus adaptive damage for 4 to 21 plus 8.5% of the shield strength plus 1.5% bonus hail.
I'm really curious how that works.
It's not gonna work on Kale. It's not gonna work.
Why wouldn't it work? The shield is an infinite strength.
It's not a shield.
How is that not a shield? It says it's a shield.
It's not a shield.
It says it's a shield in the ult.
It's not a shield.
Fine,
a shield is gray HP or Morg's shield, which is blue. Lulu, Janna, or not Janna shield. That's what they're referring to as shield or Blitzcrank shield when he hits a certain level of HP.
But it's clearly a shield.
It's not a shield.
How's that not a shield?
Basically, what Kale is just damage prevention. That's it. It's not a shield.
It's
You
a
don't lose
straight
HP. You don't
circle
gain
shield.
HP.
It looks exactly like a shield.
I'm telling you right now, it's not a shield.
Alright, well, beg to differ.
It's you take that up with Riot. It's not a shield.
Bet it-
It's not a shield. It's not gonna work. Anyway, this is in the new position 1 spot, which bone plating is now being out, and they're kind of changing bone plating as well to where it lasts half as long as it used to, and it blocks a bit more damage than what it used to as well. And the reason for this is because they're using it to prevent instant burst, like from assassins or something. Let's say because a lot of ADs were running bone plating in the bot lane to create lanes that you just couldn't trade against them within the early game, and you couldn't trade against them kind of late game either. Keep alive. And this goes in hand with the door and shield changes from earlier to where now you don't gain 30 HP just for getting hit anymore. It's now based on your missing HP, so you can get poked out of lane a bit easier, or you can be punished for it, I guess, for staying in lane if you're low. Because you'll just get burst.
Although you get it blocks more damage.
Yeah.
Or initially.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of there to prevent burst damage, but at the same time, I don't know. It's a weird mix they've created with bone plating and Doran Shield. Like, Doran Shield is supposed to sustain you in lane, whereas bone plating is supposed to prevent burst, but it just depends on how well bone plating works preventing burst.
Is it enough to nullify Dark Harvest?
Probably not. It's probably not going to make a difference with Dark Harvest. I think Dark Harvest right now is in a broken state that they're going to have to do. Anyway.
That's what removes crystallisis.
Right,
Overgrowth, it might be interesting.
So Overgrowth now grants flat health instead of percent health at 120 minion stacks or deaths. So instead of just periodically gaining HP throughout the fight per minion that's died near you, it's now flat at 120. Now just gain bonus 2.5% max health. So that'd be interesting. So that means you don't have to, worry about being in lane all the time. You don't get punished for roaming either. You want to roam as a top laner. And you could probably run this on jungle now too if you really wanted to. Then you could just go into lane and a gank or something, get your stacks that way potentially. We'll see.
Yep, and then Klepto got a little bit fun.
Yeah, Klepto, they did this change because it was a pretty niche rune with only Ezreal and GP being able to, benefit from it. Because it used to be you would use an ability and then it's kind of like a Sheen proc. And what I mean by that is you'd use an ability and then gain Klepto, where if you auto attack the enemy, you'd then gain, some type of item from Klepto or gold. Now they've changed it to where it's basically 2 Sheen procs. So this rewards a lot of people for, being able to just harass their opponent after landing an ability. Like let's say MF, you decide to hit E, you could then poke the opponent twice and proc Klepto twice if you were to try to run on MF.
Or if you're Twitch and you hit Q.
Yeah, you could do that way too. I think this is going to be interesting because Klepto actually got hit when it first came out because it was really strong, and I think this only makes it stronger. So we'll see how this works out. We'll see if this doesn't get nerfed back down.
If you're tired of being broke as a support, probably not a bad way to go.
I think a lot of supports run Aftershock nowadays, though. They'll probably be running the Resolve tree, though.
Yeah.
With the Shield Bash.
Unless they're playing Lux or something. Although, even then, maybe. That'd be interesting. Lux is a shield, right?
Yeah, Shield Bash would still work.
And Aftershock.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, wards no longer drop from Klepto after 20 minutes. That used to be pretty annoying, that you'd have like 4 or 5 items or something, and then you'd hit somebody and you'd drop ward in the middle of the lane. Anyway, item drop rates decrease to account for the amount of proc spellcast.
Or just immediately drop on that ground.
So they are already hitting it, like I said, or about the 2 attacks, getting you a bunch of items there.
Someone's gonna die because they click on that word.
Probably. So yeah, you're just gonna probably get a bunch of gold from it. You're probably not gonna get a bunch of items like you used to. We'll see.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, like I said, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock. I know.
You used to be able to get mana potions and stuff like that. They don't have.
Still can.
Yeah.
Kind of real one. Anyway, we're almost done.
All right.
Bounty, this is another major change to season 9. They're increasing the kill bounties now. So if your teammates do manage to kill the Fed Yi, you do get rewarded a bit more for it than you used to. You can also see bounties on the actual in-game board, so you know who's worth what. So let's say somebody's getting fed and you want to wait till they hit 1,000 or something. You can now do that. There's also minion and gold bounties. So if somebody's just farming, punish them for that. So there's a way to bounce back into games now. And if a team or somebody tries to 1v9, they can get punished for it pretty easily.
And it pops up on the scoreboard. You press the tab and you know exactly how much money they're worth.
Yeah. A single kill can no longer grant more gold to the killer. Any bounty gold past the cap rolls over to that champion's next death. So that means you can actually have 1,000 or something, or 1,500 gold bounty, kill the guy who has a 1,500 bounty, I guess, and you'll only get 1,000 of it, and they'll still be worth 500 gold or something close to that.
Keeps rolling down. I like how they got a minimum though, so someone feeds, they're still actually feed.
Yes. The other one, the heavy lifting one, is just talking about kill somebody who has a bounty on losing team. So let's say they have less gold. I'm sure that's how they consider it. You only get a a minimum of 20% of the normal values if they're way behind. Wow. And they're also changing how the bounty system works. So let's say MF ults in the middle of a team fight. Before, your bounties would just jump up each time you got a kill within that ult. Now it's once you die or after the fight. After the fight, you get your new bounty, or if you died during the ult or something after killing 3 people, it then registers. So that's pretty interesting change. So you can't just farm off the MF who's ulting after she kills 2 people in order to get a kill bounty.
Or suicide cart this and kills 7 people and wake up, now you have a new bounty.
So now they're making it to where if you feed and die a whole bunch, you still get punished for it because now you're still worth 100 gold. Whereas before, you'd just go down to 50 gold and nobody would kill you anymore because you just weren't worth it. So it actually used to be viable, I guess, at a certain point where if you were so far behind already, you could actually just keep dying to the enemy team until you got to the point where you were worthless. And if you were a utility champion, as long as you didn't get a kill, I don't think it resets you. So you could literally be worth 50 gold, but still provide value to your team. So yeah. Moving on, teleport. It looks like the duration's been lowered to 4 instead of 4.5. So I think it's back to what it used to be. I think they made this change late in season 5
and you can't cancel your teleports anymore.
Yeah, so now you're more committed to the teleport. I think they did this because what people used to do with teleport is, like, let's say bot lane, the jungler ganks, top would pretend to teleport in, so they'd hit their teleport on the minion wave, and the enemy jungler is going to back off immediately because they're worried about the top coming in and making a 3v3 if they were low or something. And it was just kind of pressure on the map that you couldn't do anything about. Jungler in the bot lane stayed to push the other bot lane in, and the top laner could come in and potentially wipe everything out. But if the jungler backed off, you want to cancel your teleport so that way you could stay in lane and keep farming. With this, you're now committed to your teleport, so the moment you push TP, you better be ready to go because you're going in. So yeah,
Accidental cancels.
Oh yeah, I mean that's always a thing too.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of animation bugs with LeBlanc. Oh, that's a huge patch though. Preseason.
I thought they were changing rank to where it was based on roles. So let's say you get matched up at the ADC or whatever, and you're a gold ADC or something, and then you get support, and you're like a bronze support. I think you get matched with bronze players because you're playing support, which is going to be really screwed up. There's a way to not really, because there's a way to take advantage of that to where if people role swap in the middle of a match, you could actually literally play at a lower level than what you actually were at.
True. Or if you find out some off meta stuff like Twitch support or something, and you're an ADC, okay, like Masters, might pop off pretty hard.
Oh, sorry, it's tired. Anyway, the upcoming skins: Solar Eclipse, Leona,
and pajama parties.
How did Diana not get a Solar or Lunar Eclipse skin? Kind of weird. Coven Lysandra.
Because reasons. I don't know. Why does Ahari have a second pop star skin?
I don't know. Looks like they're going pajama. So that was the rundown, guys. Like I said, sorry, it was a really long patch. My voice is kind of going, and I know I rambled a bit, but hopefully you guys got the TLDR of the patch. Honestly, I think it's a good patch. I think it's going to help a lot with Season 9. It's going to make Season 9 a lot different than Season 8 in the aspect that you can't just, win the game at 10 minutes by pushing down turrets and then moving to other lanes and pushing your lead. I think the new turret's really nice. I like how it prevents turret diving early on, punishes junglers dive. I think split pushing is going to be back with the minion changes, so probably see a heavy dose of Shen in the future. Nasus will probably be really good just from these alone.
Also, if you neglect Nasus on top, he's worth bounty.
Yeah, I mean, Nasus would be worth bounty, but if he's running something stupid like Dark Harvest, are you really going to go fight the Nasus that's fed up top?
Maybe if your whole team's there and everyone else is dead.
Well, all it's going to take is for him to cute one person, get the reset off Dark Harvest, cute one person, get the reset off Dark Harvest, and then it's just off to the races. Yeah, like I said, Dark Harvest is going to have a big use, I think, in the game now. They're probably going to hit it again next patch, I would have to imagine, or we may even see another mid-season update where it gets hit again, because right now it's just insane. I've been playing a couple Karthus games that I hit Q on a target at like 14 stacks or something, and they're just gone. It's not even funny. It's crazy amounts of damage. I think it's way better than the old Dark Harvest used to be. It scales so much quicker.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, especially if you're hitting like AoE champions and stuff.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to say about the patch?
I'm kind of excited to see where it's going, but I think this new shield bash is gonna be broke. I'm calling it right now.
I think Dark Harvest will be the broken rune of this patch or of this season if they don't change it again.
They're both probably broke.